We, for a period of 20 months, investigated violence inside Philadelphia's public school system from every possible angle. We looked at the causes of the violence, the impact it was having on learning, what was happening in terms of how the district wasn't helping students who were acting violent.
We were able to really see how the district responded in specific cases. We were able to track down victims and the people who had assaulted them and get their stories.
In the schools, they're always bothering me, but if they just take the time out to see how much of a good friend I can be.
The word needs to get out on how violent the schools really are.
It made me feel like left out and violated.
I think the biggest challenge was getting the records, and we'd gone at the district to try to get the database because we were trying to measure whether incidents had gone up or down.
The district was claiming that violence was dropping, incidents were going down, but yet what we were hearing was that the problem was much worse. And so we really needed to, kind of get behind those numbers. And what we found was that they weren't accounting for a drop in student population. They were just looking at, raw number drops. So really, the drop wasn't as big as they were claiming. Then we found that there was all these incidents that were not even reported.
I think the lesson there is, if you know there's a problem, even if the numbers initially tell you it isn't, you have to keep kind of pursuing that until you find out what's really going on.
One of the biggest challenges, too, of the series was to show how the district was failing to help troubled students. It wasn't just about all these bad kids. It was about these kids who were in need and weren't getting the help they needed.
Being in a bad community and also being in a bad school, actually a school who is labeled a bad school in all Philadelphia, is actually kind of hard to stay away from it because it keeps always trying to pull you in and suck you in.
I think one thing we learned was that we should have went through official data requests through FOIA early on, right away from the outset, because we tried to negotiate for the data and it cost us months. If you're looking for information in the district, you can't just rely on the official route either. You need to really develop sources who can give you information that they don't want you to know, but you need to know, and you need to have those inside sources. You want to cultivate them early on. The superintendent and many of her administrators are no longer there for a variety of reasons. The new administration came in and created a committee, a special committee on safety, because they thought it was such an important issue. And as school started this year, they held a 3-day summit for principals on school safety. They're largely focusing on prevention and looking at ways to really help kids before the problem starts. There were a lot of really difficult days. We would go in these interviews and you'd hear this really gut-wrenching stuff from kids who've been sexually assaulted, beaten up inside their classrooms, having to transfer their schools, not really knowing where to go or what to do. It's not the kind of story you leave at the office.
You go out and you talk to these kids and their families and you think to yourself, this is hopeless unless somebody really does something. And the fact is, there can be something that can be done. It's not a hopeless problem. It's not completely intractable.